जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। शिला गुरुदेव महाश्री गोसाई महाराज की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम पुराण की जय। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता की जय। श्री ईशोपनिषद की जय। नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. First of all, thank you very much for to His Grace Amrish Prabhu, Her Grace Purna Pragya Devidasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Parpan Krishna Prabhu for organizing these wonderful classes and giving me chance to share my realization. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we are on Shri Ishopanishad Mantra 17, Part 2. So we're going to cover the rest of the purport today. That for mantra 17. I'll share my screen. Yeah. Vayur anilam amritam athedam bhashmantam shariram om krato smara kritam smara krato smara kritam smara vayur anilam amritam अथेदं भस्मान्तं शरीरम् ॐ क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा वायुरनिलम् अमृतम् अथेदं भस्मान्तं शरीरम् ॐ क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा. Translation. Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Jai. Translation, purport, and what was known by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we will go to the purport where we left last week. Okay, I'll read the purport. The Lord clearly describes his intimate relationship with his devotees. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, from verse 30 to 34, even if one commits the most abominable action, If he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. O son of Pratha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas, merchants, as well as shudras or workers, can attain the supreme destination. How much more this is this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So these are the translations of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 30 to 34. So I'll read another paragraph and then we'll discuss the point on this. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains these verses in this way. One should regard a devotee of Krishna to be on the right path of the saints, even though such a devotee may seem to be Sudurachar, a person of loose character. One should try to understand the real purport of the word Sudurachara. A conditioned soul has to act for double functions, namely for the maintenance of the body and again for self realization. Social status, mental development, cleanliness, austerity, nourishment, and the struggle for existence are all for the maintenance of the body. The self-realization part of one's activities is executed in one's occupation as a devotee of the Lord, and one performs actions in that connection also. One must perform these two different functions along parallel lines because a conditioned soul cannot give up the maintenance of his body. The proportion of activities for maintenance of the body decreases. However, in proportion to the increase in devotional service, as long as the proportion of devotional service does not come to the right point, there is a chance for an occasional exhibition of worldliness. But it should be noted that such worldliness cannot continue for long because, by the grace of the Lord, such imperfections will come to an end very shortly. Therefore, the path of devotional service is the only right path. If one is on the right path, even an occasional occurrence of worldliness does not hamper one in the advancement of self realization. So, yeah, first, these verses from Bhagavad Gita, the references, and here is the explanation by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Prabhupada are mentioning here. So, what will so the points here is that the Sudurachar or loose character should not become our habit, because although in this verse it says that my devotee never perishes, Lord is saying, telling Arjuna to declare it, but the fall down or the loose character, those habits, they should not become our habits, should not become a norm. So as explained here, that as long as we have this material body, we have to maintain it. And different component like for maintenance, like social status, mental development, cleanliness, austerity, nourishment, and the struggle for existence, all we have to face. But our second occupation, which is the most important, is devotional service or bhakti, the self realization part. of our activities. So these two goes parallel in our life. As long as we are conditioned, but we need to increase the proportion of devotion service until it comes to the right point. And because we sure to commit mistakes and fall downs because of sincere devotion service to the Lord, and by the grace of the Lord, very soon we become purified. Then there is no fall down. But artificially, we cannot reach that point, or we cannot fake it, because Srila Prabhupada are explaining that no one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think he is still a devotee. So Srila Prabhupada is also warning here that we shouldn't take this advantage of these verses and commit nonsense and think that we are a devotee. So we'll go to these verses one by one, and we quickly see verse in there. Okay, so the verse Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 30 is famous verse. Api cheta suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhur eva saman mantavyah samyak vayavasito hi saha. Translation: even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotion service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So there is a point that in purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that devotion service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs. As previously explained, no one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotion service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. So here Srila Prabhupada clearly mentioning that we shouldn't take the advantage of this verse, and we should always improve in our character by devotion service. So our habits should change, our character should change when we follow the devotion service. Then we can say that accidental fall downs happens. Otherwise, it is intentional. Now, in next verse is it is mentioned. Srila Prabhupada saying referring this question. So in next verse, the verse is saying, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shashvat chantim nigachati kaunteya priti janat nihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So Srila Prabhupada are saying here that the question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or intentional, be a pure devotee? So this is the question, like either accident or intention, if he engaged in abominable activities, how he can remain still be a pure devotee? So this question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotion service of the Lord, the 4 kinds of miscreants that in 7th chapter, so have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contamination are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. That is called prashchit. You know, but here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee. Due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly, therefore, his chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall down. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contamination. So the key is always chanting the holy name of the Lord. And because that is a purifying process, that is a purifying substance that purify our heart. And as we discussed before, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explained that we have two parallel duties or two parallel activities: our bodily maintenance and our self-realization process. So as long as we have this body, so we have to maintain our body, and in uh, maintaining that body, in that process, we occasionally we have to deal with world, we have to deal with society, and we have to deal with so many things. So occasionally we might associate or behave like a worldliness, but when the proportion, the proportion for both activities, the devotional activities or self-realization proportion goes up to the right point, then this worldliness or these fall downs will stop. But again, this is not artificially done. This is happens in maturity, and by the causeless mercy of the Lord. So in the next verse, Mam hi partha vayapasritaya ye api shayuhu papa yonayah स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास् ते अपि यान्ति पराम गतिम. O son of Pratha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas, merchants, as well as shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that it is clearly declared here by the Supreme Lord that in devotion service there is no distinction between the lower or higher classes of people. In the material conception of life, there are such divisions, but for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. There are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. So there is no such kind of requisite or prerequisites or conditions that lower class or higher class in regards to engage in the devotional service or achieving the supreme destination. All everyone is equal. In the next verse, Kim punah brahmana punya bhakta rajarashya tatha anityam anu anityam ashukham slokam imam prapya bhajashva mam. Translation: how much greater than are the Brahmanas, the righteous, the devotees, and saintly kings who in this temporary miserable world engage in loving service unto me. So, what to speak of these, the righteous Brahmanas or devotees of the Lord and saintly kings? So, they who are in this temporary miserable world engage in loving service unto me. That's what Lord is saying, that they are uh, they will surely um, get to uh, the higher destination or perfection of life. And the last one, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evasyasi yukta vaivam atmanam mat Paranayah. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. And the point here is that one should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotion service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer into the Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotion service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotion service is the highest achievement of human society. So here, the main point now is to absorb in Krishna consciousness fully, without deviation. And in due course of time, one becomes first class devotee. So, yes, there are some fall downs. We always fall down while on this material platform or in this material body. But according to these verses and um, points in Srila Prabhupada's purpose, that as long as we are sincerely following the devotion service, chanting the holy name of the Lord daily, so that will protect us, that will purify our heart. So, and after slowly, after a while, then those fall downs will stop. Although we have to maintain our body, but still our prime occupation, that is the self-realization or devotion service, we have to perform every day, that also. And that will protect us from these fall downs. So these are the main points here from these for these 2 paragraphs. Hare Krishna, Mayuresh Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Are you able to read the purport?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I'll read through.
Okay, no worries.
From the facilities, right? So
Yes, Prabhuji, from here.
the facilities of devotional service are denied the impersonalists because they are attached to the Brahmajyoti feature of the Lord. As suggested in previous mantras, they cannot penetrate the Brahmajyoti because they do not believe in personality of Godhead. Their business is mostly word jugglery and mental speculation. Consequently, the impersonalists pursue a fruitless labor, as confirmed in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 5.
Yes. So yeah, in here, in this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada are explaining here that the impersonalists are denied of devotion service because the path they choose is troublesome and denying the personal aspect of the Lord. As conditioned soul is embodied for time immemorial, it is very difficult for him to simply theoretical understand that he is not this body. So therefore, Bhakti Yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, deities are not idle, and Krishna comes himself as Archa Vigraha to accept our services. So, so that's why the impersonalists they deny devotion service because they don't believe in Lord's personal aspect and they want to merge into Brahma Jyoti. And we discussed previously about where the Brahma Jyoti comes from. And now there is a reference given here for Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 5. We'll have a look there. Uh, yes. That one. Yep. क्लेशो अधिकात्रस्तेषाम् अव्यक् अव्यक्ताशक्त चेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर दुःखम् देह देहावद्भिर अवाप्यते. Translation: For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So for us, for with the material body, the souls, it's very difficult, or it's very troublesome advancement in impersonal in feature of the Lord. That's what this verse is saying. And Srila Prabhupada saying a point here that a living entity is eternally an individual soul. And if he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspect of his origin nature. But the blissful portion is not realized. By the grace of some devotee, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of Jnana Yoga, may come to the point of Bhakti Yoga or devotion service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble because he cannot give up the idea. So here, the Srila Prabhupada are mentioning that it becomes troublesome because the long practice of impersonalism is so much engraved that he cannot give up this idea even after understanding the Bhakti Yoga. So therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifest, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. Because it's very hard to concentrate on nothing, nothingness, or like without any no forms, So every living soul is partially independent, and one should know for certain that this manifested this unmanifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual blissful self, so it's unnatural. So one should not take up this process. For every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotion service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotion service, there is the danger of turning the atheism. Thus, this process of centering attention on the unmanifested, the inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Krishna. So, yes, this is not advised by Krishna, and that's what um, that's what happens. Like Srila Prabhupada is saying, is people one becomes atheist because the impersonal uh, practicing the impersonalism is not natural. It's the natural position is we are part and parcel of Krishna, and our only occupation, our only duty is to perform loving devotion service to him. So, but to understand this, because of so much impersonalism going on, it's very getting bit difficult, and people misguided by these so-called spiritualists, pseudo spiritualists, into the impersonalism and energy and super consciousness and all those word jugglery, as Srila Prabhupada are saying. So this is and this is very troublesome because it's not easy. It's very troublesome and it's not natural for the soul. So these are two couple of points on this paragraph. So let's see the next one.
All the facilities can be easily obtained by constant contact with the personal feature of the absolute truth. Devotional service to the Lord consists essentially of nine transcendental activities. Hearing first way, hearing about Lord. Second, glorifying the Lord. Third, remembering the Lord. Fourth, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Fifth, worship of the Lord. Sixth, offering to the Lord. Seventh, serving the Lord. Eighth, enjoying friendly association with the Lord. And ninth, surrendering everything unto the Lord. These nine principles of devotional service, taken all together or one by one, help a devotee remain constantly in touch with God. In this way, at the end of life, it is easy for the devotee to remember the Lord. By adopting only one of these nine principles, the following renowned devotees of the Lord were able to achieve the highest perfection. First, by hearing of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained the desired result. Second, just by glorifying the Lord, Sukhdev Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained his perfection. Third, by praying to the Lord, Akrura attained the desired result. Fourth, by remembering the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj attained the desired result. Fifth, by worshipping the Lord, Prithu Maharaj attained perfection. Sixth, by serving lotus feet of Lord, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi attained perfection. Seventh, by rendering personal service to the Lord, Hanuman attained the desired result. Eighth, through his friendship with the Lord, Arjuna attained the desired result. Ninth, by surrendering everything he had to Lord, Maharaj Bali attained the desired result.
Yes. So yeah. So here, the Navada Bhakti has been described by Srila Prabhupada here. The nine processes of bhakti. The and how the different devotees perfected, um, achieve perfection by following uh, one of each type of processes of bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that the different bhaktis and achieve perfections. So actually, there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where Prahlad Maharaj described his Navada Bhakti as well. It's in Canto 7, chapter 5, verse 23 and 24. We'll look at that first and then we'll discuss about Navada Bhakti. Yes. Shri Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Adha Tanmanye Adhitam Uttamam. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of the Lord, Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything to unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These nine processes are accepted as pure devotion service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these nine methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So here Prahlad Maharaj declaring that these 9 processes of bhaktis, and one who is dedicated his life in the service of Krishna through these 9 methods will be understood as a learned person and achieve the complete knowledge. So I'll just read a paragraph from Srila Prabhupada's purport, where Srila Prabhupada are mentioning that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following explanation in his Tathya. The word Shravana refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and descriptions of the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and pastimes, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar authorized scriptures. After orally receiving such messages, one should memorize these vibrations and repeat them, kirtanam. So that's why Guru Maharaj always emphasize reciting the verses correctly and memorizing these verses, because these verses are this comes under the after the oral receiving, then we memorize them. And then smaranam means trying to understand more and more about the Supreme Lord. And pada sevanam means engaging oneself in serving the lotus feet of the Lord according to the time and circumstances. Archanam means worshipping Lord Vishnu as one does in the temple, and Vandanam means offering respectful obeisances. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 65. Vandanam means namaskuru, offering obeisances or offering prayers. Thinking oneself to be Nitya Krishna Das, everlastingly a servant of Krishna, is called Dasyam. And Sakyam means being a well wisher of Krishna. Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him because everyone is constitutionally his servant. Therefore, as a sincere friend of Krishna, one should preach this philosophy, requesting everyone to surrender unto him. Atmanivedanam means offering Krishna everything, including one's body, mind, intelligence, and whatever one may possesses. So these 9 processes are beautifully explained by Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Guru Maharaj, that that how one should engage himself in these 9 processes. Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada said that when a devotee execute any one of these 9 processes of bhakti, this is sufficient, and all other 8 processes are includes. So the processes which is given by Srila Prabhupada to us is including all 9 processes, and we should take Krishna consciousness process wholeheartedly, because the process we are following at the moment, which is given by Srila Prabhupada, so it include everything. So we do chant the holy name of the Lord, we offer prasadam, we read Srila Prabhupada books, we read scriptures, we preach, and we do services. So all these activities, or all these part of the process that is given is include all these 9 processes of bhakti. And this is then we are performing all aspects of bhakti. And anyway, even if one only follow one part of this bhakti, all 8s are included in it. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. So and Srila Prabhupada given the example of different devotees who perfected this one part of bhakti, and they achieved perfections. So this is a Navda Bhakti, 9 processes of bhakti. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Actually, the explanation of this mantra and of practically all the mantras of Vedic hymns is summarized in Vedanta Sutra and properly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of Vedic tree of wisdom. Bhagavatam, this particular mantra is explained in the questions and answers between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami at the very beginning of their meeting. Hearing and chanting of the science of God is the basic principle of devotional life. The complete Bhagavatam was heard by Maharaj Parikshit and chanted by Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva because Sukadeva was greater spiritual master than any great yogi or transcendentalist of his time.
Yes. So hearing and chanting, the is the main part. So the first step of bhakti. So we must hear about Krishna and chant the holy name of the Lord daily. And this is like the foundation. And if we hear and chant daily, our foundation is strong. So the verse quoted here is the verse is down that's quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, verse 5, that which explains that what we must do if we want to be free from these miseries of this material world's miseries. So hearing and chanting is the first step. So although the 9 processes of bhaktis are there, but it starts with hearing, starts with sincere oral reception to the scriptures and chanting of the holy name. And then we can slowly we get purified. So we look at that verse. Hold on. Yeah. So this is the verse. In this verse, Maharaj Parikshit's main question was, what is the duty of every man, specifically at the time of death? And Sukadeva Goswami answered. So this is a perfect question, especially at the time of death, right? Maharaj Parikshit said. So we don't know. Maharaj Parikshit was cursed and to meet death after 7 days. But uh, but we don't know. We have 7 days or 7 minutes or 7 moments. We don't know. Or 7 years. Nobody knows. So so this question was valid for everyone. And Sukadeva Goswami answered that in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, verse 5. We look at the verse itself. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyah Kirtitvayascha Smar Smartavyas Chechat Bhayam. Translation: O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. So, what we must do? We must glorify, or we must hear about and glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada are saying that one should first of all hear about the Lord. When one has perfectly and scrutinizingly heard, one must glorify his acts and deeds, and thus it will become possible to remember constantly the transcendental nature of the Lord. Hearing about and glorifying the Lord are identical with the transcendental nature of the Lord. And by so doing, one will be always in the association of the Lord. This brings freedom from all sorts of fear. So, so there is so this is to get the freedom from all sorts of fear. So what is the fear? The biggest fear is that we lose everything. The death is the biggest fear. and or losing everything. That's the material conception. And in material conception of life, death is the biggest fear. So, but when we when we hear about the Supreme Lord Krishna, we glorify him. We remember his pastimes. Then we get free from all these miseries, and we get experience that we when we whenever we read scriptures, we read Srimad Bhagavatam or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we forget all those miseries. We forget all our everything going on. So we are just in absorbed in that um, those pastimes, so those readings, and that's the proof that we are free from all these miseries or all these material conceptions when we are in when we are associating with Krishna through the scriptures. So yeah, let's see the last paragraph. What's Srila Prabhupada are saying in the last paragraph? Yeah, yeah.
So-called human society generally engage at night in sleeping and having sex, and during the daytime in earning as much money as possible, or else in shopping for family maintenance. People have very little time to talk about personality of Godhead or to inquire about Him. They have dismissed God's existence so many ways, primarily by declaring Him to be impersonal, that is, without sense perception. But in Vedic literature, whether the Upanishad, Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, or Srimad Bhagavatam, it is declared that the Lord is a sentient being and is supreme for all other living entities. His glorious activities are identical with himself. One should therefore not indulge in hearing and speaking of the rubbish activities of worldly politicians and so-called big men in society, but should mold his life in such a way that he can engage in godly activities without wasting a second. The Isopanishad directs us towards such a godly activity.
Yes, a last one as well.
Unless one is accustomed to devotional practice, what will he remember at the time of death? When the body is dislocated, and how can he pray to the Almighty Lord to remember his sacrifices? Sacrifice means denying the interest of the senses. One has to learn this art by employing the senses in the service of the Lord during one's lifetime. One can utilize the results of such a practice at the time of death.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So in the end, Srila Prabhupada are saying that there is no time for self-realization nowadays, and we are so busy in our today's activities, that whatever civilization, modern civilization we are living in. So it's so many activities that we are busy, and in so-called advanced civilization, which saves time by all these gadgets, but rather than saving time, is engaging us more and more in different activities. So if people are having some time to inquire about God, then impersonalism is there, because there is as Srila Prabhupada is saying that because of denying God, so they declare the God is impersonal. So his energy, he's everywhere. He's just doesn't have a form. So it's some kind of energy is running everything. So why? Because we have denied the existence of God. So conditioned soul wants to become God, and this suffering. That's why the suffering is here, because they load it over this material nature. So the first step is to hearing about the Godhead and reading and hearing about Krishna, rather wasting our time in hearing and watching useless political talks and other worldly talks. That's why we require to manage our time and activities so we can dovetail Krishna consciousness in our lives. So, this is the only way, or this will only happen when we set our priorities right. It's very easy um, to get sucked into today's lifestyle, and there is no time for self realization. So, all the time is consumed by all these useless activities. But um, the real we need to set our priorities. So in the end, the Srila Prabhupada are saying that the sacrifice about Srila Prabhupada mentioning about sacrifice. Sacrifice means denying the interest of the senses. So if we didn't practice this sacrifice, then what will we remember at the time of death? And how can we pray to the Lord to remember our sacrifices? Even we haven't done any sacrifice. So how we can pray to the Lord? So this is very important point, that we must do sacrifice, and Krishna will see our sacrifices. If we give up to our senses very easily, then and do not practice control, then life is very miserable in the end. As Srila Gurudev says that if you live sinful life in your young age, don't expect the comfortable age life in your old age. So we should start this sacrifice without wasting a second, as Srila Prabhupada is saying here. And we can see that I've seen the videos of Srila Prabhupada um, in his last moments when he's still translating the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that shows that how acharyas, how the pure devotees are, you know. So there is no chance of wasting a moment. And even not like that, Srila Prabhupada always translated scriptures in the night. He didn't sleep the whole night. It's only just couple of hours, and whole night he was just awake and translating scriptures. So that shows that how important, or how much urgency is there to follow the Krishna consciousness. So this verse is about the prayer. A devotee is praying to remember his sacrifices to the Lord, and how one can pray to the Lord if he hasn't done the sacrifices. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the end. So we look at the verse again. Vayur anilam amritam athedam bhashmantam shariram om krato smara kritam smara krato smara kritam smara. Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, if you have any questions or any comments so far, that we covered mantra 17 now. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding the mantra 17, you can post in our WhatsApp group, intermediate WhatsApp group, and then we can discuss into the next